welcome to a bonus Woj Low thing on the internet where our television show ended 12 minutes ago, and about 11 minutes and 45 seconds ago, the Lakers and Luke Walton mutually parted ways, or whatever terminology teams are using these days. Kind of them to do that right after our live television show about the NBA and the Lakers ended. Whew. Okay, so what happens now? The first step, hire a coach, right?
And I'm told already there are really two coaches in this process, Ty Lue and Monty Williams. Everybody knows Ty Lue's connection to the Lakers, to LeBron James. You know, played for the Lakers. He checks boxes in LA. Played for the Lakers. That matters to them. Won a champion. You know, he's won as a player.
Does it count if you got stepped over by Allen Iverson? Does that count against him?
Yeah.
I think it should count against his Lakerdom a little bit.
Right. But and probably more important than that, he is a approved choice of LeBron James. He coached him in Cleveland. They won a championship together.
He suffered severe anxiety the next season from the stress of coaching LeBron as a free agent.
And so, but Monty Williams is the interesting one, and he's. Listen, he would have been a head coach again in the NBA already if not for that tragic scenario with his wife's death. And he went in the front office in San Antonio after he had left Oklahoma City as an assistant. We know what he did in New Orleans. And when you look back at what he did in New Orleans, it looked even better in retrospect, what he did with the roster and how much and getting to the playoffs at the end. And now he's in Philly with Brett Brown. He's been on their staff. He's been on Team USA. So he's built relationships with a lot of the big players around the league.
It would be shocking if he did not get a job this summer. I think whether it's the Lakers or somebody else, it feels like his time again. And as you said, we were talking before the show, that front office experience, don't overlook it as something that teams value, because the front office guys will like to know, okay, this coach understands where we're coming from. He understands the long view versus the short view. I think Monty's going to get a job somewhere.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out in this process. LeBron will have voice in this. He will, and I think he's been around. He's been coached by him with Team USA. He's very familiar with him. I don't think he'd be in consideration with a Laker job if he didn't have that history with LeBron. But Ty Lue, Monty Williams are the two, maybe the only two real coaches in this process. And now Luke Walton goes out on the market, and I think he will be a candidate in Sacramento. Cleveland, I don't think he fits the model of what Cleveland's chasing in their head coaching search, but I think they're going to talk to a lot of people. I'm sure they'll probably talk to Luke.
Yeah, he'll be a candidate in lots of different places. Luke, it was a tough year for Luke, but he'll be a candidate in lots of different places. And you and I were both remarking that the Lakers press release announcing the mutual parting of ways was featured a quote from Rob Pelinka, and I think that's notable because in the wake of Magic stepping down, I think a lot of people were wondering, well, is Rob Pelinka going to ascend? Or when we start hearing rumors about Bob Myers or Neil O'Shea and Masai Ujiri being approached at some point, those guys aren't going to look to be parallel with Rob Pelinka in the organization. They will want to supplant him. And it's like, or is he going to gather power? And I don't know what this means, but it was interesting.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And if you weren't sure what direction you're going with the Lakers, you might not have quoted Pelinka there. You might have had Jeannie Buss be the voice, right?
Easy.
And so that tells you something. And listen, Jeannie Buss, there hasn't been any, I don't sense there's any back channeling going on around the NBA. Would this GM be interested? With this GM? I think she's been focused on Rob Pelinka. And listen, Rob's done a lot of good things in that job. He's had some good drafts there. Their undoing was free agency last summer and the pieces they put around LeBron. But like, go back to the drafts. I mean, you can nitpick it. Lonzo Ball. At that time, people thought that was the right pick, and I think we'd like to see him healthy. If he's healthy and stays on the court, injuries have been a big problem for him.
You do read and hear now, well, if they had taken Tatum, none of this would have happened, but nobody was saying that. Maybe a couple isolated
De'Aaron
people
Fox
were
was the
saying
one
that.
at the time because he had outplayed ball in the NCAA tournament, and they said, are you looking closely enough at De'Aaron Fox? I mean, if we redraft, who do you take, De'Aaron Fox or Jason Tatum?
I think I would still take Tatum, but it's a very close conversation. Just because the big wing scorer who can shoot threes is like the piece. Now, I don't know if he's ever going to be the number one option on an offense, but he's shown that maybe he can get there. Fox is a stud, though. Fox is going to make all-star teams. He's a stud.
Yeah. I mean, if he was the Laker point guard, hypothetically, they couldn't play fast enough with, like, he would play way too fast. He'd play way too fast to have LeBron on a team. Can't play that fast.